As we made brief mention last week, we'll make another mention this week on the 5th anniversary of that catalyzing catastrophic event known as Hurricane Katrina and the somber ceremonies on this 5th anniversary. I do have a flashback for you going back all the way to 2006 on MediaMonarchy.com on the 1-year anniversary, painful lessons of Hurricane Katrina. But quickly from BuzzTab.com, Katrina left 1,800 people dead and New Orleans virtually underwater, but it was 5 years ago, and now the U.S. is marking the 5th anniversary of the horrible day when Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast. Obama, of course, gave a speech. There's still talk about funding, but if we get some of our related updates below this posting, from the Houston Chronicle, 5 years after Katrina, storm's death toll remains a mystery. Thousands in New Orleans living in abandoned buildings, so put that up to a 50% increase in homelessness in New York. Spike Lee gives America its voice with his latest documentary, the follow-up to his first Katrina documentary, When the Levees Broke. Now Spike Lee has made, I believe, If the Good Lord's Willin' and the Creek Don't Rise, something like that, a paraphrase on that old saying. And our last note here, Obama signed a disaster declaration for North Carolina as Hurricane Earl approached. Now, that was from yesterday, and as we look to Google News right now, we see as far as our weather wars updates go, of course, as we already noted, strong 7.4 earthquake just hit New Zealand. There seems to be no mention of our most recent hurricane. But quickly now, my friends, we of course had the amazing speech this last week from the Obama-Messiah. No, he didn't say mission accomplished. He said turn the page. Now, I listened to Council on Foreign Relations podcast. It's always good to listen to what the foundation-funded, intel-connected media, mighty Wurlitzers are saying. They were speculating before this speech because yes, he was going to give a speech, but they weren't saying exactly where. They were speculating he may actually go to Iraq and do the speech. Fortunately for all of us, he didn't do that and just gave a stumbly speech from the Oval Office. However, Ray McGovern writes what Obama won't say on consortiumnews.com, and Juan Cole does the same thing on juancole.com, where we'll quickly note, again, this is the speech he should have given. Fellow Americans and Iraqis who are watching this speech, I've come here this evening not to declare a victory or to mourn a defeat on the battlefield, but to apologize from the bottom of my heart for a series of illegal actions and grossly incompetent policies pursued by the government of the United States of America in defiance of domestic U.S. law, international treaty obligations, and both American and Iraqi public opinion. We cannot undo what has been done. We cannot pretend that the U.S. did not violate the UN Charter and the Geneva Convention, but we can make amends. We can seek redemption as a nation, and our salvation lies in forswearing permanent war, aggressive war, undeclared war, and police actions as a way of life. The speech Obama-Messiah should have given, instead of saying we've turned the page, and even patting heck of a job Bushy on the back. Of course, no investigations into torture, no investigations into the lies into the lead-up of the war, no investigations into the blank check of the official story of 9/11 that now, 8 years and 51 weeks later, we're still dealing with and still hiding from, and it's still the elephant in the room. You want to end war? 9/11 truth ends war. Quickly, all our related Obama-Messiah and war whores updates, an ugly list of headlines, and again, I'll say it again and again and again, do the research for yourself. I've done the sifting, I've put it together for you. I hope it makes sense contextually. And again, it's the shell game. Ron Paul has a message for the Tea Party. As we have said here for the last several months, you're being taken for a ride. Tea Party, what essentially was a Ron Paul pro-personal liberty movement, among all those other things, co-opted, misdirected, as shown by last weekend's creepy cult revival at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington District of Criminals by Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin. More on that from InfoWars and the New York Times. CBS News reported the rally attracted 87,000 people, Beck positioning him as new leader for Christian conservatives. NewsJunkiePost.com notes, is Glenn Beck a master politician or master baiter? As in the baiting of the foolish masses. Tom Hartman is on Russia Today talking about the neocons infesting and resurfacing in the Obama administration. Again, no surprise. If you follow the connections back, it goes to the same organizations. We'll note my home state of West Virginia, it's going to be, of course, ex-Governor Joe Manchin facing off against Republican Reese for the Senate seat, of course, vacated by the late Robert Byrd. Chris Floyd has a great piece on the taste of hope and change and progressive sensitivity in the U.S. concentration camps. Of course, all the great things we're affording our prisoners in these concentration camps worldwide. Again, we'll pull away some troops, but we still will spend billions on bases. We ain't going anywhere. Military subcontractors bribing U.S. personnel with prostitutes, the shady world of war contracting in Afghan-Iraq. More on that from Alternet. 17 Fort Carson soldiers charged in domestic killings since they returned home from the meat grinder. Fleet and Family Readiness Center plays vital role in Citadel Rumble 2010. Again, more desensitizing terror drills being run. Joy and tears greet U.S. Army troops back from Iraq. Of course, yes, there's some back from Iraq. Meanwhile, U.S. wasted billions rebuilding in Iraq, or wasted billions in rebuilding Iraq. That's from the Washington Post. Iran says continued presence of U.S. troops in Iraq unacceptable. The latest piece from William Blum, author of KillingHope.org. Things the media and the government don't let go of, and neither do I. And he's, of course, again referring to the lies leading us to these endless illegal wars of aggression. Afghan militants in U.S. uniforms stormed 2 NATO bases. That's a false flag attack. Afghanistan bomb attacks kill 21 U.S. soldiers in 48 hours. And for the first time ever in the Afghan-Iraq wars, a U.S. military chaplain is killed. File that under our holy hexes. And our last note that puts the lie to all of this bullshit from the left and the right. U.S. escalates air war over Afghanistan. That should tell you all you need to know about the change agenda. That's all I got for you, my friends. No more time. I wish I had more time to go into these stories. And again, I appreciate all of you out there who get this, who spread it, who help share information. None of us can do it alone, myself especially. You can get in touch with me, MediaMonarchy@gmail.com. We'll make a quick note of some of the creepy customers coming to MediaMonarchy.com in the past week. Just 2. We had Microchip Technology out of Chandler, Arizona, and, of course, the headquarters USA ISC out of Davenport, Iowa. But the good note is they were checking out the latest mixtape from MediaMonarchy.com. And so should you, and you should also watch CorbettReport.com this weekend for his amazing 9/11 anniversary episode. And it is, of course, Labor Day weekend, and as we, again, see all of these things ratcheting up, just be wary, be aware, don't fly off the handle, but be keen and astute, and be media literate about what you see going on in the world. And we can't hide, and we have to be out more. My friends, it's September 3rd, 2010. This has been the 185th episode of MediaMonarchy.com. My name's James Evan Pilato. I'm your host and webmaster of the site and show, reminding you, don't hate the media, become the media. Take care.
MediaMonarchy.com is your source for alternative news, politics, conspiracies and cover-ups. Featuring weekly radio shows on the Portland Radio Authority, PRAradio.org, the New World Next Week video series with CorbettReport.com, plus special interview episodes, B-sides, mixtapes and so much more. Send news tips to MediaMonarchy@gmail.com. You can make a donation, or mail media to the Monarchy, at P.O. Box 12165. Portland, Oregon, 97212. Thanks to all the internet and community radio stations who broadcast these shows, and most of all, thanks to you. Remember, don't hate the media, become the media.
Whether he went on with the diary, or whether he did not go on with it, made no difference. The thought police would get him just the same.